And we are live. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
We are calling you from TOPRA headquarters after initial technical hiccup from a couple of minutes ago where we didn't have an internet connection. We're back live. So hello, everybody, to TOPRA. And this session we have planned for you today is we're talking about the Regulatory Careers Live Fair coming up on the 30th of April in London and on the 6th of June in Dublin. I'm here today with the wonderful career coach Susan Botfield. She will be answering all of the questions you may have in relation to kickstarting or boosting your career in regulatory affairs. And let's just start off, Sue, by if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm a qualified business psychologist, and I do specialize in everything to do with careers, whether it's transitioning from a job that you're in and you want to move across, for instance, to reg affairs. And I work from graduate up to board level positions. Been doing it for about 15 years now.
Wow. Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it has. It's lovely work. I really enjoy every moment.
And I can imagine you are making a real difference to people's lives, and especially people in their careers, regulatory careers.
I think at the end of every session that I have, I do say to people, have I added value today? And if I've added value, then I go away feeling rewarded that it's been worthwhile and a good job. And it's so super when people call me afterwards and say, I got the job, it's great, it's the best thing I've ever done, and thank you for that. So yeah, it's super work.
Great. And Susan, so how exactly are you involved with TOPRA?
It's interesting. I was recruiting reg affairs people for about 15 years, from 1999, in fact, so a long time. I know a reasonable amount about regulatory affairs, the different teams, how teams are structured, and I know a lot about the legislative challenges that reg affairs people face every day. I volunteered my services to TOPRA in 2009, and all members are given a 30-minute complimentary coaching session as part of their subscription. So it's well worth subscribing to your profession, getting your journal, and getting all of the other benefits, as well as an opportunity for a complimentary coaching session. The topics that people talk to me about are varied. I've done a lot of work with people who are transitioning from QA, pharmacovigilance, in licensing even, a lot of different positions, and they want to know how do they present their CV that will make sense and congruency to a reg affairs hiring manager. So I've been doing this 2009, probably about 50 people a year, and it's good fun.
My next question is going to be around the Regulatory Careers Live. Before I do that, just because we had this technical hiccup at the beginning of the conversation, we had to move the camera around a little bit. Let me just move this into position. I think that's much better. We get to see more of you.
Well, all of me rather than just the edge. Thank you, Sonia.
So I've mentioned the Regulatory Careers Fair coming up on the 30th of April in London. Yeah. You will be there for the third time running this year, because it is the third Regulatory Careers Live running. Yeah. A successful event indeed. What is your role specifically at the event?
So I'm delighted that the Careers Fair is still running, and last year I have to say we had well over 100 delegates, a complete mix, probably 50-50 graduates, professionals. My role is I offer throughout the whole day 20 to 30 minute individual coaching sessions. So you can call in and book with TOPRA. I think from now, I'm sure Sinead Whelan, the head of membership, is taking calls in terms of booking those. I ended up doing at least 2 presentations last year, and I believe it's the same this year, on topics that are most common. So people want to know things like, if they're graduates, they want to know, how do I write an impactful profile? And for me, that is the most important part of your CV. If people don't read an impactful profile which says, this is what I've got, this is what I've done, and this is what I want, then quite often they won't read on to the rest of your CV. So that's a graduate question that is really, well, actually it's not a graduate question. I can say that it's probably the question for everyone that I coach on a daily basis. A lot of graduates want to know how to effectively present their part-time work, and I think that's important. It's not just something you did on Saturdays to earn money. It actually has a lot of skills and competency built into that you can display better on your CV. People always want to know, whether professional or graduates, how to answer competency-based questions. I have a technique that I offer to people, and I do some practice questions with people as well, so that they can answer those. Professionals, it's much more about structuring answers to interview questions on management style, leadership style, crisis management, developing people, and also if people are transitioning from a related career into Reg Affairs, it's really, how do I adjust my experience to match, where congruent, into what a Reg Affairs hiring professional would want to read. You know, a CV for me isn't just a historical document, it's about a bridge to your new horizons, and we can't expect hiring managers to do the translating for us. We need to do that translation up front so that people can see this experience is congruent for Reg Affairs, and write it in such a way that they are interested in reading on and booking you for an interview. So it works really well for both graduates and professionals.
Okay, you've mentioned Sinead Whelan, and that has reminded me to pin a comment into this Facebook Live section, which there you go. Here you go. I've pinned a comment to this live session with all the details you will need. So it's got the dates, the Regulatory Careers Live taking place on the 30th April at the end of this month in London, on the 6th of June. Susan, I heard that you will be in Dublin as well.
Yes, I will.
And it's got the details for contacting Sinead, membership@topra.org, and also the telephone number should you wish to find out more or indeed make a booking for the Careers Live. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've given us a lot of information on your role as a career coach at the Careers Live, but Susan, from your perspective, what would you say, how is the day structured? What can people expect when they come to the day? Okay.
Last year I sat in some of the talks where I could, and I was really impressed by the quality and caliber of the speakers. So I know that you have all worked really hard here at TOPRA to get some speakers that are literally at director and divisional director level, from companies that are branded pharma, from contract research organizations, from consultancies, and from the MHRA. So people that would give you insight into their career pathways. And people did actually last year there was a medical writer as well, in terms of talking about how they evolved into a regulatory career that worked really well for them. So in addition, I know that many pharmaceutical businesses and their consultancies are exhibiting. So on the exhibition stands are their HR or recruiting staff that are there talking about what is the structure of their Reg Affairs teams inside their particular business, and whether they've got any vacancies now, which is also interesting, or in the future, in the near future, in terms of what's happening, where they're located, all the information that's really hard to find out unless you come to a day like this.
Okay, so you mentioned the exhibitors. I happen to know the exhibitors, who they are from today's perspective, so just in case you want to know, we've got some key supporters such as Regulis, BSI, UCB, PPD, but also other supporters such as Diamond Pharma Services, AstraZeneca, Kyowa Kirin, and regulatory professionals. So they are all people who could be potentially your next employers, if you look at it from that perspective.
It's a really incredible array of speakers, and also here I see there's Nick Sykes, Director of European Regulatory Policy from Pfizer. Really, Jonathan Trethowan, a really good, strong supporter of TOPRA, Vice President, Reg and Scientific Policy. There's nowhere else that you can actually get to speak to these people one-on-one and ask them, how should you move forward, whether you are a graduate or a professional. And quite often I talk to professionals who want to move teams. which is also quite an interesting transition. And it's not always easy, because you become so good in your job, it's difficult to move out into another team. But yeah, it's the kind of work that I've done quite a bit of, and it works really well.
So Susan, you've mentioned that there will be, from experience, you have been already at the last 2 shows. This is the 3rd event coming up. There will be obviously professionals who are already active in the regulatory affairs attending, but there will be also another group of people who are the starting out people in reg affairs,
okay.
The students. Can you just give us a better understanding of the audience, of the mix of people who will be there on the show?
I think if you're a graduate, and as I said earlier, I speak to at least 50 a year easily, half-hour complimentary coaching session with your subscriptions. If you're a graduate, you cannot afford to miss this special day. It is well worth the investment of your time, and I understand a very small amount of money to turn up. I was in regulatory affairs recruitment for 15 years. I absolutely know how difficult it is to get that first job, and having impactful documents and LinkedIn profiles is one thing, but also learning about the ECTD triangle and how that divides into different teams in your in regulatory teams in big companies. It's important to find out how that works, whether you want to be in clinical reg, whether you want to be in CMC, either preclinical or post-marketing, or whether you want to be in regulatory strategy and policy. Coming along to this day really gives you an insight in terms of what pathway do I want in my regulatory careers, and do my skills lend to that pathway as well. So come along, talk to people on those exhibition stands, listen to the speakers, and see if you can book an individual session with me. And all around that, you will go out with some unparalleled insight that will really help in interviews, networking, and getting the job that you want. So from a graduate perspective, don't miss it.
And it's also, just in case you happen to be a graduate who doesn't know which way to go and which direction to take, this is just the perfect opportunity to explore the options, right?
Yeah. It is just, it's unparalleled. What other profession does this? Just TOPRA. Just TOPRA.
So clarity comes through engagement, not fault. Just in case you haven't made up your mind, if you're a student, in terms of your future career and which way you would like to go, it's important to think about things, of course, but it's equally important to take action and to go and speak to people, meet people, and to find out for yourself whether this is something which may be a fit for you and your future career.
Yes.
And Susan has mentioned the incredible speakers we have lined up and the exhibitors who could be potentially your next employers. It's really a day not to be missed.
Yeah, I agree with you. Last year, I personally coached at least 8 graduates privately throughout the day. I spoke to at least 12 people over lunch, and I followed up with 30 individuals by Skype or Telecon who couldn't actually get booked on. It was such a good day.
And it's a whole days of invaluable information. We are not talking about a morning or just an afternoon or a couple of hours. It's both. It's really a whole day, and the information you will take away
it's well worth
is incredible, and it's well worth it. I will be mentioning the pricing towards the end of the conversation, and also answer any of your questions you may have in just a little while. So if you have any questions to ask, please make a comment right now. We'll get back to those questions. But okay, so we spoke about the students now from and you, Susan, you've mentioned already a lot and gave us a lot of information on the professional side of things, but professionals who are either undergoing a career change, or people coming back from a career break, or people who are trying to really boost their career in reg affairs. This is the day to be at, right?
This is the day to be there, because my day job is coaching people that are either in transition or they're coming back to work after a career break, break, or they've been made redundant due to those many, many relocations that occur. So returning to work after all of these events is, I know it's a tough call. It's a tough call, and we all have our own redundancies in our backgrounds as well, so I can understand how that works. Transitioning from a related pharma function into Reg Affairs is also a challenge, but the differences are that candidates are well received because they're not newbies to the corporate world. It's really just a question of doing that translation piece on your history and your experience to make it more congruent and acceptable to someone reading it from a Reg Affairs perspective. So it's getting those extra perspectives on the day that makes all the difference to how you write those CV and LinkedIn profile documents and how you interview. It really is worthwhile. Coaching for me helps most people identify how to market themselves, choose which career pathway is best. It may take a couple of moves to get to the final goal, but it really will be well worth it. A career in regulatory affairs, all of the people I meet, they love their jobs. I do meet people every day who can sometimes feel quite dejected or demoralized by doing it on their own. And I think what happens on this day for both professionals and graduates, but especially professionals, is that the day provides a real sense of community with TOPRA. You're meeting all of the people at TOPRA who do a lot of the lectures, the webinars, the seminars, the lifelong learning CRED modules. You can talk to people about the MSCs that are run both in pharmaceuticals and in devices. You can really get that strong sense that TOPRA and the people that work for you and your profession are right behind you or standing with you. So I think the other thing that happens for professionals is that those that are already in the profession that may be returning from a career break or from a redundancy, you can find out what is still the same, what's changed. You can pick up on, is there a CRED module that I could take that would give me the upgrade that I need? And you can talk to the TOPRA professionals and find out which one is right for you. And fill in those gaps in legislative changes that may have happened. There isn't a day like this in any other field that I know of. Join us.
And this is saying an expert who has been in the field for
too long,
okay.
since 1999.
Okay. So if you have any other questions, we have now answered the questions which we had received in advance of this webinar, and we believe that they would have been the questions you would have answered, you would have asked as well. If you have any other questions, feel free to put them into the comment box right now. If not, we will assume that we have answered the questions, the important questions coming up to the Careers Live show. But to give you an idea on the pricing, how much it is for you to attend, Susan, you have mentioned it's an incredible value for both students and also professional members. But as a student member, if you decide to take part, you can actually come along for £35 for the whole day. And what you get in addition is a whole year's TOPRA membership free of charge. Wow. So if you, let me rephrase, actually, if you take out TOPRA membership free of charge, which is for £35, it's a better value for you to just book the ticket for the day, because there's no VAT on membership, so you save yourself the £7. So you may as well become a TOPRA member, student member, and come along to the fair. So you can email Sinead, our head of membership, under membership@topra.org, £35 for the students. For the professional members, who are already members of TOPRA, it's £65 plus VAT to come along to the day. And for those of you who haven't joined TOPRA as members yet, it would be £90 plus VAT to come along to the day. But also, just before you book your ticket, get in touch with our membership department to see whether it actually doesn't make sense for you to take up an individual personal annual membership with TOPRA, because the pricing there is also incredibly priced in terms of what you get in return. So we have mentioned the exhibitors, we've mentioned the speakers, and the caliber of the speakers attending. There will be really speakers from across the board, vice presidents of regulatory affairs, directors.
Super.
senior auditors, regulatory specialists.
Free coaching.
Free coaching.
Opportunity to talk to companies in terms of whether they've got vacancies now, an opportunity to find out where their regulatory teams are located across the UK and across Europe, a chance to find out how big those teams are, what different teams they have within those teams, because of course everyone's divided up into CMC, preclinical, post-marketing, clinical regulatory strategy, operations, publishing. There are so many teams in regulatory. It really would be worth coming along to the day to see which team fits you.
So for the £35 for students, £65 for professional members.
Price of a haircut.
Professional non-members, £90. I mean, students, Susan, how does this compare just to a coaching session with a career coach?
Coaching session with a career coach is minimum $125 an hour.
So you get to join, if you're a professional non-member of TOPRA, for £90 plus VAT, you get to join the whole day, 8 hours, and you can speak to Susan and many others exhibitors. So
it's such good value.
So we are encouraging you to come along to the day. Obviously, we are getting close to the event, so pick up the phone, email us to get your bookings in, because we are reaching slowly but surely capacity, but we want you to be there. We don't have any other questions, so I believe, and I dare to assume, we've done a good job in answering the questions. Well done. And yeah, we will be posting this video on Facebook, but we encourage you to share it on the various social media, here on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and whatever you feel is appropriate, just to spread the word to people who may be in a similar sort of situation like yourself. You're here for a reason. Think that there will be other people out there looking for the information you have just obtained. Yeah.
Join us. Great sense of community.
But yeah, see you on the 30th of April. But for now, thank you very much, and bye from TOPRA.
Bye-bye.
See you on the 30th. Bye.
Bye.